Linda van Tilburg for BizNews. It's that time of the year again where students aspiring to study abroad and their parents need to start making plans, and who better to guide us through what this process involves than Brent Morris, the Managing Director of Study Abroad for Sable International, and he can tell us about these universities that are coming to South Africa to look for students. Hi Brent, welcome again to BizNews.
Hi there. Yeah, thanks. Welcome. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So, can we start first of all before we get to what is happening in South Africa? What does the international landscape look like now? Can we start with Ireland, because they now suddenly want visas for South African students?
Unfortunately, yes. It's been coming for a while. We have known about it. Our university partners have been speaking about this for a bit. There's been, I want to say for lack of a better word, grumbles within the immigration side about South Africa and Botswana being the only countries in Africa that don't require a visa to go to Ireland. And I think to bring it all in line, they were talking about it. They've been talking about it for a while. So we're not shocked about that it came. What we're shocked about is how they did it. The way that they did it was what caused a bit of panic for us. The lack of notice and how quick we had to get things going. That caused a bit of trauma for some of our students. Fortunately for us, we've been doing this for a while, and we don't only work in South Africa. So we've helped students from all over Africa get visas to Ireland very successfully. We've never had any issues with it. So it's not that it's a challenge to do. It's just another hurdle now that students now need to overcome. We were just very lucky in that we knew what to do when it happened, even though the notice was so short.
Well, the UK's new Labour government, they've indicated international students are welcome. So what are the opportunities and changes to the rules there, or aren't there any changes?
So as it stands, there's no changes, which is actually positive, because the previous UK government did what was called the MAC review over the last 12 months, reviewing whether the graduate visa, which is what allows you to stay back for 2 years after you graduate in the UK. And that's really important for our students. So once they've studied and they've graduated from their program, they can stay back into the UK and look for a job. And they've got 2 years to do this, and they can work and have all the rights of a local citizen. Now, the issue with this is that the government wanted to see whether this was impacting immigration, whether this had an effect on immigration. And what they determined through the MAC review is that it didn't have a significant impact on immigration. In fact, it had a positive net outcome for what was going on in the country from a skill shortage perspective, etc. So what the new Labour government have done coming into power now, they've acted quite fast in reconfirming that they agree with the MAC review and that they're going to keep the graduate visa, which for us, again, is fantastic. It means students who are studying in the UK can stay back and work once they graduate, which we think is really important. From there, we have the facility to be able to help students go on to skilled visas and all the way through to nationality, if that is their choice. We have a great team in the UK who can facilitate the process all the way through, which we think is really beneficial to our students. So we're quite excited about the UK being a great option, maintaining it as a great option for our students, and just reconfirming that it's going to be a positive option for students who are going to go study now, that when they do graduate, nothing will change. Because the nice thing about the UK is once they make a rule, they'll never change it for a student who's currently in the process. So if a student enrolls this year, they'll never, it's hard for me to say never. In the past, they have never changed the rules for a student. So we like to think that this will happen in the future, that they won't go and change the current rules for an existing student. So a student who starts now will get the same postgraduate rights as if this was the rules currently right now. And this is what we've seen in the past. So we like to think that students who are going now will get the graduate visa. And that's what we're really positive about at the moment.
Well, I see some UK universities offer some discounts for South Africans if you go to their campus. Was it in Dubai?
Yes, so a number of universities now are opening campuses offshore. So we've seen campuses from the UK open up in Dubai, in Mauritius. We've got Middlesex in Mauritius, which is a fantastic campus, in Malaysia. So there's, we're seeing this happen all over the place. And what it allows our students to do is to go study at a lower cost and still get a UK university degree. So they can study the same qualification at a university in these countries with the campus run and maintained most of the time in partnership with a local provider and the university. And then once they graduate, they get the same quality degree that they would have got in the UK. So it really does open up opportunities. It also means students could study 2 years there and then finish their final year in the UK and still qualify then for that graduate visa if they so wanted to stay on in the UK and use that degree there.
Well, you've got a big event coming soon, so can you give us more details about that?
So yeah, we're very excited. We've got a number of universities from the UK, Australia, Canada, Ireland. Who am I forgetting? Australia as well. There's a couple of other smaller countries from Europe coming out too. We're expecting around 15 universities to 20 universities to come out. It's happening in Johannesburg, Pretoria, Durban, and Stellenbosch. So we're covering most of the major regions. I can list the dates and times if you'd like, if that would really help. I can give you the full location. Sure. So it's going to be the event starts on the week of the 2nd of September. The first day will be in Pretoria from 1 o'clock till 7 o'clock at Centurion Country Club. Then we move on to Johannesburg on Tuesday, the 3rd of September from 1 till 7 again, p.m. in the Bilal College, which is a private school in Johannesburg. And then we move down to Durban in KZN, again, same times, 1 o'clock till 7 o'clock at Redham House up in Umhlanga. Then we are moving to Stellenbosch, which is from 1 till 6 at the Pretoria Hotel in Stellenbosch.
So generally, South Africans who want to study abroad, do they have to do extra qualifications, or is our matric okay?
It depends on where and what they want to do. And it depends on the country they're going to. There are some European countries that will require a 13th year. So our school level currently only goes up to year 12, as we all know, matric, which is our national senior certificate. If you're studying the local CAPS qualification, or your IEB, it goes up to year 12. There are some European countries which will require a year 13. There are some UK universities that require a year 13 or an A-level equivalent program, or an IB equivalent program if you're studying in Europe. However, most universities will accept your NSC or your matric qualifications. It just depends on the grades you're getting. So we're very confident that if you've only done a matric and you want to still go to, say, the UK, for example, unless you want to go to Oxford, Cambridge, or one of the Oxbridge programs, so, Imperial College, LSE, they generally don't require an A-level certificate to get entry. You can still use your matric. However, you will need higher grades. Or there's a foundation program you can go on, which will allow you to enter into the year before, and you can study on campus and go straight to the university afterwards. So there's lots of options. It's definitely not a no if you've only studied your NSC. If you want to go study abroad for countries like Canada, USA, they accept you straight from your NSC, same as in Australia. There's no issues there. There's just some European and UK countries that would require an A-level, same as in Ireland. It just depends on the program and what you want to study. A lot of the time, what they'll do is they'll add a fourth year to be able to accommodate that year that you're missing. So there's lots and lots of opportunities for students who want to study it with just that level of qualification.
Yeah, and I know some universities ask for a certain, exam that you have to sit. Say for law, I know that you have to sit a certain exam. So which gives you another way to get in if you pass that and get a good mark in that.
It depends on the country again. Law, the exam you're thinking about for law, which is your LSAT, which would be only the USA, and that's only once you've studied your undergrad. So not relevant for the UK, Australia, those sort of countries. You would go straight to law. There would be no additional qualification or exam you'd need to do. You can go straight from your matric or your A-level, depending on what you've studied, and go straight to your law degree. You've also got amazing programs if you've done in undergrad in South Africa, for example, in business, and you want to get into law. You can do what's known as a conversion degree, and it's a year or two, depending on what you studied. In, for example, the UK, University of Law offices, it's fantastic. You do I think it's a 2-year program, and then you can convert to a law degree. And from then on, you can go on and study your master's. So it gives you straight up into an honors degree, and you can go study your master's in law and do your LLM and go on and sit your board exam if that's what you want to do. So it's a shortcut into getting into law. So you definitely don't need to do additional exams to do law in most countries. Even for medicine, again, some UK universities will require an additional course or additional test in order to get into medicine. A lot of the universities don't require that anymore. Again, in the US, it's an undergrad degree, and then you sit that exam, and then you try to get into medical school. So there's lots of different options. We've got amazing medical schools in all over the world that don't require additional exams in order to get in. You can go straight from your even your matric or your NSC to go straight into these medical schools.
Well, the big thing that I think most parents who think that's a good idea, let me send my child, is the cost. So can we look at, what does it cost to let your kid study overseas?
Okay, so I mean that can be a challenge, and that's why we always tell students or parents, should we say, to start planning early. The earlier you plan, the better it is for you, because it is going to be financially tiresome, and the cost can be a lot higher than what we expect to cover in a South African university, for example. However, we do have some amazing options. I spoke earlier around Mauritius, where you can go study a UK university degree. The tuition is around $7,000. If you convert that into rands on today, it's not a crazy amount. The cost of living is also relatively low compared to a lot of the big countries like the UK. So you can study there and live there reasonably affordable. There's great stay back options when you graduate, because they're a growing economy looking for employees, or skilled employees, especially in the major STEM subjects like sciences, engineering, all those sort of programs. There's a very high chance that you will actually find employment afterwards. Again, Dubai, you can work while you study. So there's ways to cover some of your costs while you're doing the program. You can study at night and work during the day, and go on to go on to an amazing career afterwards, because there's so much work opportunity in those countries. But when we're looking at the major countries like the UK, for example, Australia, USA, you're looking at, for the UK, but anything between £10,000 up to £25,000 for normal undergrad. For a postgrad program, it's around 15, 12, 13, £15,000 up to around £25,000. And this is why, for a country like the UK, for example, when most parents come to us and panic and they go, oh my gosh, I can't afford to send my student to the UK. I really want them to go to the UK. I think that's the great option for them. This would be fantastic for their career. They'd be able to get a job. What we actually tell students and parents is do your undergrad in South Africa. Why do you need to do your undergrad in the UK? And you're spending 3 to 4 years paying tuition and accommodation costs to study in the UK. Our universities in South Africa are still amazing and still highly ranked and still offer great degrees. You can study your 3-year undergrad here and then do your honours degree in the UK, your final honours program. Or if you can finish your honours here, you can go do your masters overseas, and then it's a 1-year program, and you still qualify for the graduate visa. So instead of having to save up for 3 to 4 years, you only save up for 1 year. So we're seeing more and more students. In fact, because we work throughout the continent, and we send over 1,000 students a year to study, help assist over 1,000 students to study overseas. Most of our students are actually postgrad students, because that's where what we find is that students going on for their postgrad are more determined. They generally have higher pass rates, and they have a better chance of getting employment as well, because they've got a bit of work experience. They know what they're doing. They're doing a specialist program, and they go into a career where they have a better chance of a company picking them up, saying, okay, this individual's got experience. He's studied a master's degree, or she, should I say. They've studied a master's degree, and they're now ready to take on a career. I'd way rather invest in this employee than an undergrad coming straight out of an undergrad program, now having to go find their path still. So it's a much quicker, clearer route for the postgrad student going through. Again, at the undergrad, there's great, in the UK, for example, there's great graduate programs you can go into which offer sponsorship. It's definitely not a closed door, but what we're seeing is higher success in the postgraduate route. It's also a more affordable way to do it. We see it as a much clearer option for our particularly South African students, because we have such high quality universities still, and still offering one of the most affordable educations globally, considering the quality that they're providing. Using that as a springboard to get into just your final year or your master's program abroad.
Well, Brent Morris, thanks so much for all this information. Thank you. We will post the dates on the website as well, if people
Thank you.
want to go and speak to you. Thanks for speaking
Awesome.
to
Thank you
us.
so much. Thanks, Linda. Keep on.